Fit, active, healthy, happy, enjoying the prime of your life. Looking out for your health and wellness, this is Health Talk with Fred Lowry from Lowry Drug in Statesville. Visit Fred at his store, conveniently located on Hartness Road in Statesville.
Good afternoon. This is Fred Lowry, pharmacist and doctor of natural medicine of Lowry Drug in Statesville. This is Health Talk, pre-recorded for December the 5th, 2025. I hope you're having a great day and looking forward to the weekend. This program is intended to share knowledge and information based on my research and experience. This is not intended to offer individual advice, nor does it replace a one-on-one relationship with a qualified healthcare professional. Your daily choices are yours and have more to do with your health than anyone in the healthcare field. My hopes are that this show will empower you with knowledge to take a proactive approach to your health. Some of my sources include, but are not limited to, various health feeds such as Epic Times, Mercola, Children's Health Defense, PubMed, and various Substack posts. I ran across something that I found interesting, just a comment from someone on our modern culture. They titled it "The Celebration of Collapse." And it basically is talking about from the second you are able to sit up, even as a child, you might celebrate your birthday with a cupcake. That is basically outlining that we have these all these sugar rituals disguised as love. Includes Valentine's Day, Halloween, where they say we literally teach kids to beg strangers for sugar, which is they classify as poison. We have a Christmas binge, a Thanksgiving binge. You graduate, you get cake. You get married, you get cake. Someone passes away, there's still cake. The comment is like we can't seem to process our emotions without drowning ourselves in frosting and grease. And even when you think about hospitals, hospital food, food in school systems, etc., our diet's not really good. Now, we'll obviously most of us love really good desserts and sweet things. I personally try not to participate, but I can freely admit that if something is in front of me, I certainly am tempted. But I think it's just a commentary to be thinking about that, particularly if we make that just a way of life on a daily basis. In the news last week, Pfizer was talking about the success of its new mRNA flu vaccine trial. Basically said that their vaccination, which they call a vaccination, is not technically a vaccine, outperformed conventional flu vaccines in a phase 3 clinical trial. The New England Journal of Medicine last week published the results of the study. The vaccine delivered statistically superior efficacy compared with the conventional shots, and the trial demonstrated an acceptable safety profile. We have no idea what that might mean. Of course, I, as you may guess, have no trust of such pharmaceutical company that does their own trials and then tells us that something's safe, because they certainly don't have a history of fulfilling that promise. There was an editor of a trial site news, Daniel O'Connor, that said the Pfizer trial showed that the mRNA flu vaccine can reduce influenza A infections, but the benefits are really modest. There was criticism in saying it was an invalid trial because it basically was not tested against an unvaccinated group. There was no placebo, which means the entire claim of efficacy is based on relative effectiveness. So, it's basically how can we trust this company? Their track record is not good. Since 2000, that company and subsidiary companies have been found guilty of 107 criminal offenses with lots of dollars in penalties, and they have found guilty of defrauding the federal government 22 times in the last 25 years. Not a good thing, but the good news is after that report, their vaccine was not approved. The FDA said primarily due to the failure of protecting seniors, a key demographic for flu vaccination. So the study basically did not include those seniors. FDA Commissioner Marty Makary said that the mRNA shot failed in seniors during clinical trial and emphasized that the agency would not approve products that lacked evidence of efficacy, particularly those that failed clinical trials. He also noted we're not going to rubber stamp new products that don't work and fail in clinical trials. It makes a mockery of science, and we're not going to rubber stamp things without data. So that's good news, but it is they obviously have rubber stamped things in the past. So perhaps we're seeing change here. Interesting thing to note is they said that the vaccine showed a 34.5% reduction in flu-like illness. And if you look at the flu shot products that are out there, they do claim a pretty high efficacy, maybe up to 50%. You will remember that Pfizer did claim that the COVID shot product had 95% efficacy. Keep in mind these flu shots are products that have flu viruses from the past, so I think it's very questionable whether or not they are effective at all, considering we were all alive in the past and perhaps were exposed to flu viruses that change every year. On the food front, came across some things related to the labeling of meat, and particularly grass-fed meat. Keep in mind, all beef is grass-fed, at least to the end, and some of them I've seen with labeling as vegetarian-fed. So, what does this mean? 100% grass-fed, I think is hard to come by unless you buy locally and know the particular grower. So a lot of the product is labeled as such, and maybe even labeled all natural or naturally raised. You have to wonder what that exactly means. Coming up on a break here, stay tuned for more Health Talk. Just talking about labeling of food products, meat in particular. One of the things that I recently saw was there's a byproduct of the ethanol industry that uses distillers' dried grains and solubles. This is a feed additive that has a pretty good protein and fat profile, but it certainly is not in the grass-fed realm. The byproducts of the grains probably corn used in distilling primarily. One of the downsides to this is the possible presence of mycotoxins. So it's just another thing to be aware of in terms of food products. Also, I think this was in the news recently, it was talking about labeling that says a product of the U.S., which is pretty much meaningless. A lot of our meat is imported, and then if it's packaged here in the U.S., then it can be claimed as a product of the United States. There was a little information sheet from Mercola about the reasons statins trigger muscle pain. And I've always thought about this muscle pain related to energy production in the cells. So it's pretty well known that statins block coenzyme Q10 in the liver, which is the enzyme used for making ATP, which is energy on a cellular level in the mitochondria. So this is a new thing, at least for me, that basically they have discovered what they say is the real mechanism for problems with muscle aches, muscle pain, and even the destruction of muscle tissue in severe cases. Basically, the statins can latch on to this calcium regulating channel in the muscle cell, forcing it to open. So muscle contraction does relate to calcium, and so when this channel's open, we're basically leaking calcium into the fluid of the cell, and this is where the injury happens. This mechanism appears to apply across the entire drug class of statins. Now, there are some that are not as bad as others. Their idea here is that researchers believe that the future versions of the statin could be redesigned to take care of this problem. And so, to me, this is just an illustration of how we get focused on something, a drug that does one thing, lower LDL cholesterol, without really understanding, or at least maybe we're just ignoring the downstream implications of what happens. So these calcium regulation channels are really critical for the process of how a lot of things work in the cells. What we're talking about, the movement of calcium ions into what we call the cytoplasm, which is the fluid part of the cell. And so calcium is basically a messenger that regulates heartbeat, muscle contractions, neurotransmitter release, and brain tissue. It regulates gene expression, how cells grow, how they die, energy metabolism. So this is really a big deal. So we have this side effect related to muscles with statins, and these are the things that you can feel, the things that you can experience as a problem. There are a lot of things that happen that are below your conscious level, if you will, in terms of cellular problems. So when we have this change in how calcium goes, it changes this what we call how the membrane of the cell actually works. Keep in mind, this is in skeletal cells, cardiac cells, neurons, all of these things. So basically, we're talking about a dysfunction of how calcium actually works. in the cell. And what happens is when I think they recognized or quantified this as when enough of the statin gets together, that's when the cell or the calcium channel has a problem. So, does this impact just muscle cells or all cells? And then basically it can impact all cells that are out there. The ones that seem to be the worst include atorvastatin and simvastatin. There are some that are not quite as bad. Keep in mind, statins interfere with this pathway in the liver, and the things that are included, the chemistry of this, it impacts cholesterol, impacts vitamin K, coenzyme Q10, steroid hormones, your estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, cortisol, all of these things. So not a real positive picture there. Antidepressants. This is also from recently from Mercola. Apparently, antidepressants, this serotonin reuptake inhibitors, trigger low sodium in the body in some individuals, which causes severe anxiety. So this low sodium in the blood is basically an electrolyte disorder. Sodium keeps your nerves firing and muscles working. So when this sodium gets low, it can leave you tired, confused, and even shaky. Further worsening symptoms may include nausea, seizures, and fainting. So in severe cases, sodium imbalances can drive hospital stays and cognitive declines. Antidepressants, such as these selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, which are routinely prescribed for mood disorders, kind of gets overlooked in terms of the sodium balance thing. We don't even really think about that relative to side effects. Apparently, older adults are more impacted by this. There's a large study in the European Journal of Endocrinology which investigated the connection between antidepressant use and a severe drop in sodium levels. The primary drug they looked at was venlafaxine, which is also known as Effexor. Thousands of individuals developed low sodium, which this is a narrow range, really. The normal is a number of 135 to 145, but when it drops 5 or 10 points, this can be a problem. So one of the things that happens if you're ever prescribed these drugs, the most likely time for this low sodium to happen is in the first 2 weeks, and so you're much more likely to experience that, but the more you take it, it could also be an issue. Older adults and women seem to be more impacted by this, and one of the things that happens is that there's too much retention of water. So there's something called antidiuretic hormone that increases and signals your kidneys to hang on to water. And so this is what part of the mechanism behind it. So antidepressants that are supposed to calm anxiety, and when they lower sodium, you can actually have the opposite effect, and which may lead, with more anxiety to actually increasing the dose. So what happens is, sodium levels crash, and people can actually feel restless, fearful, and even paranoid, and not realizing it's a drug reaction they may just think that their anxiety is getting worse, because you would assume that the drug is being helpful. So another thing to consider here, this is a whole body event. Sodium is really important for brain function. And so when you have low sodium, you're basically trying to operate, let's just say like your cell phone at a low energy level of the battery. And so you don't have the energy to maintain emotional balance with this. So it's something to really consider when you think about this concept of low sodium diets. And I do recommend seasoning with Himalayan salt. There's a lot of good benefits for that. Some of these antidepressants are worse than others. So that's something else. Apparently, Wellbutrin, buprione, and paroxetine Paxil have the lowest risk of this problem. Stay tuned for more health talk.
Doctor, my eyes have seen the years and the slow parade of fears without
Lowry Drug on Hartness Road in Statesville was established in 1959. We are a traditional family pharmacy with a state-of-the-art compounding laboratory. We offer a full line of medical equipment, supplies, CPAP, scooters, lift chairs, oxygen. We have a full line of supplements, nutritionals, herbs, essential oils, homeopathics, and more. Come see us. We're talking about low sodium and the impact of antidepressants. Of course, there are other things related to this, but so one of the things related to how to maybe improve your situation, and some of this is universal for basic health concepts. The concept of fueling your brain with the right foods. So, it's important to have enough energy to operate on. And so if you're not producing enough energy, you've got an issue with fatigue. We're going to talk about next things that will relate to this around the concept of obesity and the causes and solutions. And it kind of ties together in terms of the foods. But one of the things that happens, a lot of people are trying to lose weight to get on these low-carb diets. And that might be a strategy that's helpful for a while. But you definitely need carbs, particularly in the form of fruit. Vegetables have carbs, and even white rice. And the recommendation is around 250 grams per day, which is about 8 ounces. One of the things we talk about is cutting out seed oils, packaged foods high in linoleic acid. They call them PUFAs, polyunsaturated fatty acids. These things are really poison and toxic, and one of the underlying issues related to health issues and obesity in this country, because it damages cell membranes, it damages your mitochondria, so it's better to cook without those. Of course, the oils I'm talking about to avoid include canola, soy, corn oil, vegetable oil, that type of thing. Instead, it's better to cook with stable, saturated fats like butter, ghee, beef tallow, coconut oil. So all of these things are important. There are nutrients, of course, tied to emotional balance. We just talked about sodium. Magnesium can be a driver for that, helps your nervous system and your muscles relax. And that can be depleted in individuals that are under stress. B vitamins are really important. The lack of niacin and thiamine can contribute to all kinds of emotional irritability things, poor sleep. Making movement a daily habit, physical activity is a great way to improve your mood. Sunlight, natural sunlight, which a lot of us don't get enough of in the wintertime, particularly when it's cold. We don't want to get outside, but it's vital to your health, including the production of vitamin D. And then I've mentioned before this concept of treating with EFT, emotional freedom technique. It's a method of tapping and saying mantras for people that have things that they can identify, and it's real easy to get the information on this if you do a search for under Macola and EFT, which is emotional freedom technique. There's an outline there that I think can be very helpful and cut to the chase as to what you can do to improve that situation. Of course, these are all non-drug approaches, which is something to think about if that's a possibility for you. One of the things about that we see every day is issues around obesity, weight issues. It's really become a focus, particularly more recently, last few years, around using the GLP-1 type drugs to lose weight. And, there's a lot of weight loss programs out there. And a lot of, everybody's used a lot of different programs. And so a lot of times it has to do with the consumption of decreasing the amount of calories. But I'll tell you, in talking with people and individuals that have weight issues, it's not always the calories, because a lot of these individuals just do not eat that many calories, which can be a problem in and of itself. But basically, we've got I would say, a little bit of a crisis here within the world in terms of obesity, and so excess body fat, of course, raises your risk of all types of illnesses, diabetes, cardiovascular, fatty liver, sleep apnea, and even some cancers. There are a lot of symptoms out there related to that, and lifespan. And every year there's millions of people that attempt weight loss programs built on the idea that eating less and moving more is the simple solution. Sometimes that's the case, but as we look at the foods that we have, we have consumed a lot of these types of fats, the wrong kinds of fats. Our diet with heavily processed foods, all are a big negative, and sometimes this dieting is just not, and moving more, exercise is just not enough, and long-term data really leaves these special diet programs sometimes being metabolically worse off. So a lot of the diet industry basically is kind of built on failure. So the failure points to a deeper problem. Is it calorie math, or is it resting energy, your metabolic rate, and how you're actually able to burn calories? So there are doctors that have argued that obesity stems from a cellular energy imbalance, focusing on what they call reductive stress, where your energy cells, your mitochondria, cannot burn oxygen efficiently. This is also a concept related to cancer, where your cells are not able to burn oxygen. So when they cannot burn oxygen and burn food for energy, you end up getting fat accumulation, lower metabolic rate. Your metabolism hits the bottom, and you have widespread body dysfunction, basically. So sometimes shifting the conversation away from willpower and towards cellular energy related to weight loss is an important thing to look at in terms of what causes this cellular energy to drop, and the inability to burn oxygen. A lot of this is food choices. Stay tuned for more health talk. When we come back, we'll explore more of this.
Doctor, my eyes have seen the years and the slow parade of
Welcome back to Health Talk. This is Fred Lowry, pharmacist and doctor of functional medicine, talking about obesity and weight loss, and how to improve your metabolism. And one of the things I'd like to you to think about is as you're thinking about any kind of program to improve your health. Your body composition is just one piece of that, and of course that's the outward appearance related to your health. But I think it's important to think about some of these things in terms of a long-term program, a lifestyle of just eating better, improving your health, instead of a short-term program where you maybe eat a keto diet, high protein, low carbs. One of the problems with that is we do need carbs, and I know there's a lot of controversy over that and different opinions, but nonetheless, body composition doesn't happen overnight in terms of changes, so I think it's important to think about it in terms of a long-term program, and I'm talking about years, so it doesn't mean that you can't make improvements along and improve your overall body composition, but it does take a focus on a little bit of a long-term strategy. So we were talking about when your cells can't properly burn food for energy. And we think about concepts of willpower. We can go back to the first thing in the program related to how we celebrate life with cake and sugar. The real victory happens in the grocery store. If you don't buy it, you're not going to eat it. So and that becomes a choice. There's different strategies for that. And it's not that the concept of willpower is not important, but basically it's not as much about willpower as it is making different choices, exchanging something for a better choice than the things that are not healthy. So as we shift this conversation, you don't really replace something that a food that you may or may not be addicted to, just sheer willpower. You replace it with something better. So basically the link to the obesity is the failure to burn energy properly. When your cells rely too heavily on burning fat for energy, especially under stress, it actually kind of backfires. One of the concepts here is when breaking down fat uses a vitamin B2 riboflavin, which is one reason that taking B vitamins is an important thing for overall health. They do so many things, but when you run out of that, then your ability to make energy on a cellular level diminishes. And once that B2 becomes depleted, the energy basically kind of backflows. They call it a reverse electron flow. And instead of producing clean energy, it generates this oxygen or reactive oxygen species, stress chemicals, causes inflammation. This is basically a stress signal in the body that lowers your metabolic rate into a fat storage mode. In other words, excessive fat burning does not always help you slim down. So there are things that can backfire. And so it's just one illustration of how nutrients are very important. So what you eat, it definitely is important, but we might explain obesity is less about overeating and more about broken energy metabolism. So you could argue that the body stores fat when its cells fail to properly burn oxygen and fuel. This is kind of challenges the views of calorie in and calorie out that dominates kind of mainstream advice, but that doesn't mean that calorie in, calorie out is invalid, but there's more to this picture. One of the things that happens, particularly with women, I think, is thyroid function. And one of the things that when the body's under stress, there's mechanisms to inhibit thyroid production, and the reason for that is to maintain calories, to maintain energy for a stressful situation. So this thyroid issue, a lot of individuals have normal thyroid profiles. But the problem with that is they're not optimal, and particularly related to the way the body burns energy. So, being cold is a sign of low thyroid function. It is something that really needs to be addressed, and I think a lot of the way the labs are set up, sometimes we're looking at the wrong things related to that. So we've looked at calorie restriction, keto diets. A lot of this stuff still goes back to this role of this polyunsaturated fats, the PUFAs. When you're eating these vegetable oils, and this stuff is in every processed food out there, the bottled salad dressings. If you look at breads, crackers, cookies, anything in a box or a bag, chips, you're going to see vegetable oil, soybean, canola, these things reduce your body's ability to burn fuel efficiently, and so when you're not burning your calories enough, it basically becomes stored as fat. This process creates reductive stress, meaning that your cells have too much stored energy and not enough oxygen to burn to process it. There's a whole thing here where your carbohydrates and enzymes shut down carbohydrates so aren't being burned, and so these polyunsaturated fats mimic a process in animals basically related to hibernation, where body temperature changes, slows brain function. It just goes on and on and on. So the other side of this is this hormonal side of the story. We've talked about cortisol in the past, so that certainly can be an issue related to stress and the metabolism. Estrogen is actually plays a role in this in terms of stress hormones causing cells to swell with water and shut down energy production. Ladies can relate to this at certain times of the month. They do retain fluid, and it's related to that estrogen. So when you take these polyunsaturated fats that we've talked about, these PUFAs, it actually mimics estrogen in the cells and pushes you to more fat storage. So I hope you're getting an idea and an understanding of how serious these the consumption of these seed oils, these polyunsaturated fats, because basically it's one of the underlying issues for all kinds of health related issues in this country. Food quality certainly matters. Of course, the first step is to avoid these type of foods, switching to whole foods the way they're presented in nature. I think it's a good thing to shift away from this concept of willpower and focus on the cellular energy concept and how to improve your overall health. And as you improve your health, a lot of these things, these health goals that you have, actually become secondary, and you lose weight naturally that way. It is important, I think, to get exercise, but avoiding the extreme pushing yourself beyond limits. I don't think that's helpful, because that is a stressor as well. Hope you have a great weekend. Thank you for tuning in to Health Talk. This is Fred Lowry of Lowry Drug in Statesville. Come see us.